Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bigfoot Zone ECBRO. And if you're listening on the rerun or on ECBR Bigfoot Radio, which is found on any of your favorite podcast platforms, well, we're glad to have you. Ladies and gentlemen, a couple of announcements I want to go through before we jump right into our segment tonight. We have a special guest with us, Mr. Mike Hartman from Ohio. We're going to be bringing him on very shortly. But I do want to remind everybody, if this is the first time listening or tuning in, or if you've been watching, I do want to remind you of a few newly published books right here. Trail of the Unknown, A Journey Beyond Truth. The Bigfoot Zone, a comprehensive research doctrine of Bigfoot investigations. And, of course, my very first children's book, based off of me and my grandson, Caden Goes Camping. These books could be found on lulu.com. So if you go to lulu.com and go to their bookstore, you will find these. So I encourage you to jump on these, take advantage of these, especially if you plan on attending. And I'm going to tell you what, I was not planning on attending or being a part of any speaking engagements this year. But yes, I will be found at the West Virginia Bigfoot Festival this year. I've been there about 4 times, at least 4 times. Actually, maybe it's, yeah, 4 or 5 times. Anyway, I spoke. Every time I've attended there, I spoke at each one except for one. But I will be your speaker this year. They do a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Of course, October 9th through the 11th. October 9th, which is a Friday. So among the speakers, they have me scheduled for Friday, October 9th. I'll be speaking at this event. And I do plan on having my book there, possibly a few DVDs. A few DVDs. What DVDs will I have? Well, the first season of Bigfoot Explorers. That's right, Bigfoot Explorers is streaming on Fossum TV Network. So, yeah, that's exciting. We finally got it on there after it just took forever to get on there. But we're glad that it's on there. So there's a possibility that I may have DVDs. I've already talked to the film distribution guy. He asked me, "Hey, do you want to have some DVDs copies?" I said, "Well, if I can afford them, sure. If I can get copies, that'd be great." I told him, I want to make sure I can afford copies of my own books to sell there to you. So we'll kind of go from there, see how that works out. But yeah, this year, 2026, the West Virginia Bigfoot Festival. You can find me, yours truly, Daniel J. Benoit. I will be there from Friday through Sunday. But the main day is Friday and Saturday. I won't be there too long on Sunday. As it's roughly about a 4-hour drive for me, and I'll be headed home Sunday around noontime. So enough of me rambling. We'll talk about a little bit of this later. We may, repeat this. I may share some of this again. If you have any questions. Oh, one more thing too. Talk about West Virginia, and I didn't bring it up here to post on here, but April 11th, there is a Bigfoot town hall gathering at the in Parkersburg, West Virginia. At the oh my goodness, I should have had this written down at the Parkersburg Wood County Library, and I will be there April 11th. Hopefully, we gather some reports, some stories. I hope anybody that has stories, I would love to hear from them because I will have my camera there. I would love to interview them, but I will also be doing a presentation there. Also, in the same month of April, right here in Virginia, I do have a flyer for this. Let's Talk Bigfoot. It's a town hall gathering happening in Waynesboro, Virginia, at the Waynesboro Public Library, April 25th, from 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. And so, right around 11:30, I will be starting my presentation. We will be having some of our equipment there on display to kind of show people some of the stuff that we use and what we like to use that we love to experiment with. So, but yeah, this is going to be taking place April 25th at the Waynesboro Public Library from 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. So be sure to check this out and tune in. This is exciting. We love to talk Bigfoot with people. Anytime there's a Bigfoot in the conversation, we're all about it. I love talking Bigfoot. I love hearing people's stories and reports. And you know what? So does our guest. We're going to be bringing our guest in very shortly as we get started. So, ladies and gentlemen, bear with me as I get ready to get this situated here. Let's bring in our crew members here, David and Melissa. Hey, how you guys doing tonight, David and Melissa?
We're doing okay. How
Doing
about
great.
you?
Doing great.
All
Another
right.
night. Another night.
Oh yeah. One thing I do want to throw out there too for everybody listening tonight and next weekend. Next week will be the last podcast for a while. Because as you guys know, I like to throw. We're in podcast season, so but as of next weekend, we have one more guest, but he will be on not next Friday, but next Saturday. Um, Dave Scott. He's actually having me on his podcast that Thursday night. Then he's going to be our guest on our podcast on Saturday night. So, and then after that, I am going to keep the schedule open and clear because that's we're getting nicer weather. Uh, I got stuff going on. My grandson is bugging me. When are we going to go camping again, Grandpa? I said soon, soon, soon. So yeah, I want to make sure there's time available to make sure I get him out there in those woods, and then plus we got our group camp out coming up in May. Uh, um, but before we bring our guest on, I wanted to ask you guys: was there any announcements or anything that you guys wanted to share or throw out there before we bring Mike in here?
No, let's go ahead and bring him in before he falls asleep on us.
Not a problem. Here we are, Mike. Welcome to tonight's podcast. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's fantastic to be here with you guys, the ECBRO. So I'm looking forward to this.
Awesome. I'm glad to have you on here. I know you seem pretty busy a lot of times, and I know you're pretty much well involved with a lot of this. And I haven't watched anything recently because I'm not sure if you actually put anything out recently, but over the years, I've watched a lot of your Facebook lives and your shows and stuff. And I love the way you go about doing things. I love how you're serious, but like I feel like you throw some humor in there, but you're being dead serious at the same time when you talk and present stuff. And I
Yeah,
love that.
you got to have fun with it. So I mean, you have to. So it's otherwise it's very tedious, very boring. So
Yeah. I think part of what I find entertaining is like some of the stuff I watch from you, like you'll bring up people's names when you're trying to clear something, when there's an issue, or even if it's somebody trying to bring drama up and getting you involved. You're trying to clear the smoke. Like, well, let me show you, let me tell you what I feel, pretty much kind of thing. Stuff like that. I know I've dealt with all kinds of crazy people. Over the years
yeah,
myself. So,
I
oh
don't doubt that. I don't doubt
well,
that a bit. So
well, Mike,
yeah.
what got you started in this? How long have you been in this field of research?
so for me, it started in 83, 84 with the third grade. It was just a trip to the school library is all it was. You
Mm.
know, all the kids line up at the door. We walked down and I found this book by John Green called
Oh
On the
yeah.
Track of Bigfoot. And I
Hmm.
checked the book out and I to this day still have it. So I owe a huge fine for this book if that school ever goes to collect. But yeah, I still have that book to this day. And so yeah, and it just I was flipping through. Of course I read it, but in the middle of the book was a picture of Patty in that frame. At
Mm.
357, 352, where she's facing the camera, and that picture drove me insane because I realized there's so much missing in that picture. And it's the information around it. I had to know more. What is it? What does it do? Where does it live? What does it eat? Where does it sleep? How does it function? How does it? And with my ADHD, that just grabbed me, and it was my go-to, and kind of really my lifesaver at one point in my life. So yeah, it was just my go-to thing.
Hmm.
Back then you weren't autistic or blah 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 blah. You were either that horrible R word retarded, you were learning disabled, or that was it. You was mentally retarded, you was learning disabled. They didn't know about ADHD.
Right.
And so the schools always labeled me as learning disabled. And my dad figured it out, and he said, "Learning disabled my ass," because I got 100 on my hunting exam. And my dad was like, "He's not learning disabled. He only focuses on what he wants to focus on, period." And
Yeah.
that's all he's going to. And as soon as everyone figured that out, the teachers found ways to keep me entertained and keep me engaged, basically. But Bigfoot was my go-to. So
Thank another way.
William,
Pretty hard that poor guy.
I can tell you, I can tell William's alive now.
Yeah,
Possum
that
Holler
uh,
Road.
that's a good one.
Do you remember?
Yeah, he mentioned it. Yeah.
Oh, what was it?
Say the name of that book again that you got when you was in third grade.
so it was On the Track or On the Trail with Bigfoot by John Green. And
Mhm.
two people wrote the exact same book. Like there was a Miriam T. Place or Palace that wrote the same title of the same book, the same year, almost the same cover. And I thought it was, but I never read that one because, again, that ADHD, I read this one. This is the one I like. This is the one I want. So that's the one I focused on. And yeah, it just to this, I had that. So when I left for the Navy, that book had rubber bands around it because when you opened it, all the pages fell out and you had to put all the numbers back in order. So when you read it, you had to put a page over here, read the next page, put it over on the pile, read the next page, put it on the pile. And I had handwritten notes all through it, and my mom swears she has it in a trunk somewhere over at her place. So, yeah.
Wow, man. Yeah, John Green, among a few others, he's considered one of the four horsemen of the Bigfoot community, pretty much.
Yeah,
You know,
him, Grover Krantz. I mean,
yeah.
they were my John Waynes growing up. They were my heroes. I mean, Uh, if it was Saturday morning, I was watching Bill Dance outdoors. If it was in
Ah,
the
yep.
afternoon, I was watching John Wayne. And if it was a book, or it was Bigfoot, and it was Grover, it was Renee, it was Green. Yeah, oh crap. Now I can't think of his name. Ah, figures. I'll think of it in 10 minutes. Yeah.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, there's so many out there. But let me ask you. I'm just curious. There's a lot of incredible footage. Besides, well, let me back up a little bit. Let me start with the Patterson footage. What's your take on the Patterson footage? How do you see and view that?
so I just I love it, but there's way too much because again, the way my brain works, I see Patty. I see when you watch the whole film, you notice Patterson is running because the camera's going everywhere,
Right.
and then you see the log, and you can tell that the camera gets propped up. And then for just those few seconds, it's so still and nice. And you have the movement, you have the arm swing, you have the head turn, and something just tells you it's not a person. But I need that information around it. I got to if it ain't a person, what is this?
Right.
What's it doing there? Where's it going? Why is it where it is? I mean, why is it right there on that particular pinpoint on the map and not 100 yards that way? Why is it right here? And
Right.
those little details kill me. They'll drive me nuts. So
Yeah. If I could add something to that, you know, first of all, like I've told many people and on podcasts myself, that footage alone, it was a big part, not the only thing, but a big part of what got me involved with this in the first place. And I think I speak for so many others out there too.
Oh
It,
yeah,
it was a fascinating footage, but then if you start looking into a lot of deeper details, wait a minute here. Well, just a year prior to this film, Roger Patterson himself just put out a book. On the cover, there was a female Sasquatch, you know,
yeah,
sketched on it. Then a year later, then they filmed Patty. Coincidence, you know, whatever,
right.
you know. So there's things like that. Like you're like, oh, what the heck is going on here? But then again, they're going out to the woods. They're going out to Bluff Creek to film at Bigfoot. Hey, they happen to get lucky and film at Bigfoot. Coincidence or not, you know. So those are things that can make you scratch your head. Like, are these red flags? But then again, we look at the other alternatives. Like, okay, wait a minute. Not I shouldn't say alternatives, but look at the other situation. Like, well, Hollywood did not have this equipment to produce this. So did Disney. Disney did not have the technology to produce this. So,
Right.
but then there was footcasts that were found, and studied, and analyzed, and proven to be, hey, this is something from a real flesh and blood creature. The gateway and everything else in between, they can't compare or match to a human gateway. You know, so it's like you're being. It's like a tug of war game on. This
Yeah.
adds credibility to it, but this makes you really think otherwise. You know, so that's how I am. I mean, you understand what I'm saying, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because
William
that,
has a William has a question on here. I'm not even familiar with this. William is saying, this is William Nighthawk. What do you think about the M.K. Davis research findings about Patty being drawn in by her family and being killed?
I've seen a lot of MK stuff, but I'll let Mike jump on that if he knows
I'm
anything
not
about it.
familiar with that myself.
Yeah,
so
I know all
M.K.
about Mike.
Davis, yeah, he kind of, how does he word it? I guess a computer guru, and he does a lot of creations, to bring stuff to light in videos.
Yeah, he likes to
Works
play
with
with stuff.
yeah,
Animator.
yeah, animation, draw red lines on stuff, but
Yeah,
at the
MK
same,
Davis is no different than any of us playing with a computer. That's all he is.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I do the exact same thing. I try to,
Yeah,
figure out shadow lengths, blah blah blah. But his findings about Patty being drawn in by her family being killed, I, where is that? Where does
it's
that come
yeah.
from? Where,
You make me
where
want to throw a lot of stuff out there, but this is your show. I don't want to get into it, but
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
thinking the same thing. Just reading the question there. I mean, I'm not even familiar with that, but just by reading the question, how would you even know that?
yeah,
exactly,
Where does it
and,
come from?
and, and that's so just like
speculation.
yeah. I just like Daniel said, Patterson made the book, right? And then he films Patty. Well, he was an alcoholic, an ex rodeo rider. He
Con
was
man.
broke off his ass. He
Yeah,
bounced the check that he rented the camera with, and then he shoots this immaculate piece of footage that no one on the planet. So either he was the luckiest broke guy on the planet, I mean, absolutely lucky, or he pulled off the world's best hoax. It's
right.
one or the other, and it's apples and oranges. There's no middle because you can't have a half fake Patty or a half real Bigfoot. It's either a
Exactly.
person or it's a Bigfoot, and
Yeah,
it leaves it to the imagination.
exactly. I'm right there with you. But the whole MK David thing. You know, I've when all he was doing his thing. I mean, back when I was very blunt and open, more outspoken on a lot of stuff. It was. Oh, somebody jumped off. They're there. Okay.
What'd
But
you hit, Daniel?
no, I didn't touch nothing. You guys
Okay.
disappeared for a second. So, but yeah, the whole MK Davis situation. I mean, he got. I mean, he must have been bored out of his freaking mind. He just
Or you not
I
losing
don't
or
know.
whatever.
I don't know. He just
Yeah,
got bored out of his mind and started playing with the computer. Say, I'm gonna make up these colors and play with, see what I can do, adding contrast to this image and these screenshots, and
yeah,
start thinking, hey, look at the blood, the puddle of blood there. Hey, there was a massacre here. There's
right, yeah.
no evidence of this, but your imagination is letting you create this because you got software on your computer that changes colors on shit.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm going too
eh,
far.
no, I mean, you're right. Because
What's wrong with it?
I think a lot of people, how would be the best way to be politically correct if I was going to attempt that? I guess a lot of people try to find a niche to where they don't care about the research, they don't care about the history, they just want to be Bigfoot famous,
Right,
period.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
And,
Yeah.
and I think for him at that time, because now I can just hit a button and say, hey, Gemini, do this to this film. Okay,
Yeah,
Mike, I will do that. And then, yeah, bam, there it is. But at that time, he had that ability to do so, which made him look smart. And,
right.
and so, yeah, it's like Ron Moorhead, right? The guy who recorded the Sierra Sounds, all great. But then on this last TV show I watched to him, he said that Bigfoot dematerializes, absorbs into a tree, and that's how it recharges, like you were plugging in your cell phone, and then it comes out of the tree and rematerializes. And I'm like, this some bitch did the Sierra Sound, the Sierra Sound, like the holy grail of audio. And now this guy's telling me that Bigfoot will dematerialize, charge its batteries inside of a tree, and then pop out and re-become Bigfoot. And it's like, what
Mm.
happened here? So,
Yeah, I'm
but
not
I
sure
don't
if I'm
know.
familiar with that part, but speaking scientifically, yeah, trees give off energy and trees
Oh
produce energy.
yeah,
So I mean,
absolutely, yeah,
right. but
yeah. Yeah,
but
everything. Because I have a friend who can't go deer hunting without a hex suit because they
mm,
put out so much electromagnetic. They couldn't kill a deer if God Himself was pointing the barrel for him. I mean, he just can't get close to them, so he has to wear one of those hex suits that trap all that stuff in because
oh wow.
deer pick up on it. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Well,
Wow.
I'm not exactly sure. Hexu, can you explain that real quick? I,
Okay, so hex technology. It's HEX. And what it is, they found out that everybody has electromagnetic waves. And it was first discovered with sharks, and that's how sharks can kind of hunt. They can sense this electromagnetic vibration of a fish trying to swim away. It puts out like a pulse.
okay.
So a shark can track that to the fish, even in a dark, and, bite the little bugger and have a nice meal. Well, then they started testing it on other wildlife, and they found out that, yeah, these guys who were going out hunting, trapping, going after these animals, wildlife photographers, some of them can get close to these animals for some reason, and some of these guys can't. So what this hex suit does is it's almost like a wearable magnet, I guess, for lack of a better term, but it traps your electromagnetic field that the human body, the heart, mainly in your brain, automatically put out. It just stops that electromagnetic because they found out in the hunting world that deer can pick up on it. And this suit blocks that from being able to be noticed. And when it first came out, I'm like, nah, I don't buy it. But then I went to a hunting expo and they held this machine up to me and it went like, brr, and the needle barely moved. And my buddy who never gets a deer, they hit him and it was like NASA lit up.
Wow.
There was sirens, there was bells. He just had this crazy pulse. And I was like, you're kidding me. So they put the suit on him and then they ran it over him again. It's just like a sleeve you put on. And when they ran it over him, it was the tone of mine. The needle barely moved and it was just. And I'm like, what?
Wow.
But it made sense to me because here's this machine showing it to me. with an actual readout, and it's like a mini voltmeter. And then when you get to looking into it, you find out that your brain puts out so many microvolts, microamps. Every beat of your heart puts out X amount of whatever, and your static
Well,
electricity.
you could make
Um,
basically a correlation with that. I'm sure you've experienced it, many people. I know I have, to where sometimes you can just be around somebody for the first time and you just get that feeling that,
a vibe.
yeah, that you don't want to associate with them or there's something not right with them. I mean, it's not every day you feel that, but I mean, I've
Yeah.
experienced that a couple of times throughout.
Yeah, and even reversal that, where you might walk by someone, and for some reason you think that person was really pleasant, and I don't,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like you
Just the opposite,
get
yeah.
that vibe. Yeah, and then there's somewhere they walk by, and it's like, yeah, keep going, asshole, and you just go on about
Yeah,
your
yeah,
way. But
Raw
yeah,
evil.
yeah.
it
Well,
yeah,
as far as the Bigfoot goes, I'm not an experiencer. I haven't seen him or anything yet. That's why we're out doing research. Started about 5 years ago with Daniel. He got us involved in this. We've always had the interest. What kind of research do you
okay.
do? How deep do you get into the research to where you from back
So
from the third grade up until now? Where you at with that?
so I kept up with I guess, the armchair aspect uh, all through high school, all the way up till I graduated. Because even though the Minerva Monster incident happened, I didn't think every book I ever read was California, 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 Pacific Northwest, California, and I thought that was just where they were. So through the beginning years, it was all armchair. And then when I joined the Navy, they put me in Gulfport, Mississippi, and I found these old boys at the general store, and they were telling me some stories. And like, hey, if I went out to the swamps, am I going to get eaten by a gator? I just want to go see the swamps. What do I need to worry about? And then the one guy started, of all things, he brought up Boggy Creek. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's just the next state over. And he's like, yeah, but it's right here. And I was like, what do you mean it's right here? Boggy Creek? And he's like, no. The monster, the Boggy Creek monster, it's back there in our swamps. And I'm like, I got to go to the swamps. So then I started doing that. Well, then I got sent to Cuba, where I've never heard of Bigfoot anything, and it was back to the armchair. But then I got sent to California, and I was like, oh my God. I was in to me, the holy grail. So in 95, 96, I was running the Ojai Mountains, OJHI. And that was every weekend. What the world?
That's
I was running off to the
yeah.
I was like, damn, something coming to get me.
That's David and
But,
Melissa's bark.
Oh, that was my phone. That's a predator sound on my phone.
oh,
Yeah, you'll
Anytime I
hear.
get
oh,
it's a predator sound on my phone.
He's
Yeah,
rain
we'll
sound.
hear.
okay.
I hear it every podcast, so I get used to it.
I like sometimes it throws
Yeah.
people for a loop. I like that.
If you hear something, tell me it's cuckoo.
And then
It's our cuckoo clock.
I'm not used to wearing headphones, so it was
Yeah.
right there on me. And
That's
I'm
cool.
like, wait a
That's
minute.
cool. I like that.
uh, yeah, after California, though, it was, I was one of those people that I left home, came back, left home, came back, left home, came back. And I said, that's it. I'm done. I'm not leaving again. I'm just stuck here. But then I started hearing about old stuff about Don Keating and stuff about Ohio and Coshocton, and how it was like, that was the name I was trying to think of earlier, Lauren Coleman.
Ah, well, yeah.
And he said that he put Coshocton, Ohio on the top 10 places of his list, that places to see encounter a Bigfoot. And I'm like, oh crap. So, then I started buying gear, camera, binoculars. I was already bow hunting, uh, already hunting. So I had most of my normal outdoor gear. But then it went to, now it's night vision cameras. I got a thermal. I got a drone. I love tech. I loved. A lot of people hate techno. I love technology. I love anything I can play with that has buttons, and I've crashed a lot of drones because of that. But I've gotten some great footage because of that at the same time of landscapes and whatnot, trying to see that what's over the hill. Well, why hike over that hill when I can just send a drone and it can look for me? I can stay on this side, it can do that side, and we'll meet in the middle. So yeah, that's his. Oh, good lord! So
Yeah, Mike Phillips is saying this.
so that started as a joke. So I was at the Hocking Hills Bigfoot Festival, and out of the blue, without my knowing, they were doing the Bigfoot call contest, and I walked down there to do the contest. The next thing I know, I'm on the stage with the microphone. Like my whole day just got flipped right there. And it was the calling contest, and me just being typical idiot me, I'm like, don't expect guys to do great because I'm an Olympic gold medalist in squatch calling, but I'll go easy when I judge you. And that's where the whole expert came through, because I got an Olympic gold medal in squatch calling, is what I told like 30,000 people or whatever.
Yeah,
So
that's very cool. Hey, there's one thing I need you to do for me though. This is regarding a comment I saw earlier. I need you to say something for me.
okay,
I need you to say, "Get her done."
get her done.
Yep, it sounds just like him.
Yeah, somebody on the chat was saying you sound just like Larry the Cable Guy.
I Well, my family's from Virginia. I still have
Oh,
property there, so that's where I get my little bit of southern accent from. Yeah, and then I used to work at CarQuest, and we had a guy come in, and he always said, "One of these days, I'm going to make a cartoon, but you have to be one of my characters."
oh yeah,
And
that'd be
I was
awesome.
like, like, all right. He's like, I just like the way you talk. And I was like, I just talk to me. It's just everyday normal talking. I,
Yeah.
I didn't know I had a specific genre, or
No, I mean
whatnot.
you're unique, Mike. You're very unique.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
It draws
Yeah.
people to you
I,
that way.
Mhm.
Well,
yeah,
have
that's
you had an
true.
experience or anything like that yourself? Sounds, visuals, or
Yeah. So I have a pretty good amount of audio recordings. I call it the Bigfoot Audio Net, where I bought a series of recorders, and I can run them 12 miles in a straight line every at half mile
wow.
intervals, or I can put them out in a grid. And I got a timer on them where they'll turn on at about an hour before dusk, and then I can have them turn off whenever I want to preserve batteries. So that way they can stay out and work for me longer than just turning them on and wait until the battery dies. I can get about a week out of them.
Oh, okay.
So I've got a lot of really interesting audios that way. I have had one sighting, one what was that? One, did I really think I seen what I thought I saw? And like I've had a lot of maybes, but the one was just plain as day. Well, plain as night, just right there. So, and yeah,
Hmm.
that one shook me to my core because it went outside of the normal of what I thought a Bigfoot should be or should do.
Daytime,
Because
nighttime.
it was nighttime. And it's like we were kind of like we had been out on a day hike. We were going to set up that night, and we decided to take a little break in the middle. So we fired up the grill, which we always did. We're sitting at a pavilion. We got hot dogs on the grill, and my little fierce little puppy, Bree Nicole, little Boston Terrier, she's just out killing sticks because sticks are not allowed to come within 30 feet of Daddy or she'll kill them. So she's out making sure that I'm safe from any sticks that might be laying on the ground. And this little dog is legit fearless. So I'll back up real quick. So it was Christmas time. We had gone out shopping and we just bought gift bags. We went to the next town, went to Walmart. We go inside Walmart. We come out of Walmart. The door of the van is open. And there's this little Boston Terrier with the red face where someone had opened up the van and got into it and she ripped them a new one.
Wow.
So, yeah, so this is my little Bree. Well, she comes running to me and she jumps up on my lap and she turns around and she starts growling at the woods. And my first thought is, get the hell up off me. If you're going to piss something off, don't jump on me. You're on your own. Keep going over there. And I'm looking, and I'm like, I don't see anything. And there's just nothing out there. I mean, there's a pole light up there, but the light only goes so far because it's got one of those big metal shrouds around it. And so I'm looking where the light meets the dark. I'm looking beyond that, and I don't see anything. And we're in a squatchy area, of course. So I'm looking for what I thought I should be looking for. I'm looking up. I'm looking, 6 to 8 feet off the ground. There's nothing. I don't see any deer. And I finally lean back and I looked right between her ears and down her snout like I was aiming her like a gun. And it was when I did that I caught just a hint of movement. And so I leaned back up, and here's this figure-ish thing on the ground on all fours. And it's moving sideways, but it's like hand over fist, like it's moving sideways, like bleh.
Like a
It's
gorilla
dead
does.
facing me, but moving dead sideways. And I'm like, none of the pictures I ever seen did anything like this. Because I'm used to supposed to be on two legs. It's supposed to be up and walk like me. It ain't supposed to be down low, hiding doing sneaky crap. And it gets to a tree, and you see these armish things come up behind the tree. And I can't make out any detail, but I can make out a shape. And you see it look around the tree, and then it does that crawl, and it dead facing me. It's not turned sideways, it's dead facing me, moving dead sideways. And it gets to the next tree, and again you see this peer up and look side to side. And I'm like, is this a goofy bear? Am I seeing something stupid? And it's sideways until it gets to the brush. And then it turns broadside. But it was facing towards where it came from, and it went ass first into the brush. It backed into the brush. And it backed into this tall grass, and I couldn't see it anymore. And then straight up out of the grass came this towering thing. And I'm like, holy, that's what I'm supposed. And then it turned and it went down through the woods, and it sounded like a 747 crashing. But I didn't see like the shape of the nose, the shape of the mouth. Did it have ears? I don't know. It would just look black and fuzzy and just dark and fuzzy like shadow moving. But you could tell it wasn't a shadow. You could tell it was a thing.
Right.
And then when it came up out of the grass, I was like, wow, because that's when it hit me just how big this thing is that I'm running around looking for. And I started to question my life decisions like, why am I looking for this? What am I going to do if I catch it? I mean, what am I going to do if I get cornered? What I'm looking for this thing, and because it was massive, and it was just a split second, and then it just crashed down through the woods, and I was like, I'm just blown away.
So it's just you and
But
your
the
little
fact,
dog out there. Just you and your little dog.
you know, the wife was with me, and so like 2 weeks before, she had seen red eye shine in the woods, and we always do recreations where we go out and we try to rebuild everything that happened. And we discovered that it was about 7.5 feet off of the ground. So she, every time we went there, that's where her focus was, like hoping that same thing would happen again. And we've all done it, you know.
Oh,
It's like you go to your favorite spot where something happened. It's like it's going to happen the exact replay. I'm going to get a play by play again tonight. And that's your hope. So she's looking up there, and I'm looking the up. So she's facing that way, and I'm facing this way, kind of deal. And she heard the crash. Because next thing I know, she's walking up towards the edge of the asphalt where the grass hits, and she's now looking down, but she didn't see because I couldn't. I tried to get her attention, but all I could get was like, "Ah, ah, ah." I couldn't speak. It was like just being choked by the devil or something. I I was shaking. I was excited. I was happy. I was shitting myself, and I just couldn't get my voice box to work. I sounded like a little girl. I mean, that's all I can do is squeak. And I'm like, damn it, man. So I couldn't call for help if my life depended on it. And I could tell that was a fear. It was just, I was that scared that I couldn't talk. And yeah, that was my one big that I, I mean, I got a really cool, badass thermal capture last year, but it was at 187 yards away. Yes, you can tell something's there, but it wasn't that 40 yards away. It's right there. I'm right here. We're within reach of each other. I mean, yeah, when it's like 100, at thermal, it was cool, but I wasn't scared. In fact, I went towards it.
right. Yeah.
Well,
Well, I tried to, but I ended up going for a
that's
swim
good.
in
You
the
all keep
middle of
going back. A lot of people
October.
walk away their first experience with the PTSD and stuff, and they never go back in the freaking woods again. So, and plus,
That
yeah, plus you made it
happens.
evident you don't account for every shadow and everything you see as going to be a Bigfoot. You say maybe. You don't know what it
No.
is. You don't know what it ain't, but you account what you did encounter. So that puts more validity behind stories. There's a lot of people out there. They think every shadow they see, every branch they hear crack, it's a Bigfoot. It's a Bigfoot. If you can't put anything behind it to
Yeah,
back it up, we don't know what it is. So it's good.
yeah, I was
You're
with,
keeping it down to earth and real. I like that.
yeah, and that because and I've been with those people. It was a group I wasn't associated with. We just happened to be at the same place at the same time at a popular state park. And I was just getting ready to leave. It's like, you know what? I'm going to give these guys the area. I'll go somewhere else. And it was fall time, and right here, this huge walnut tree, and walnuts would, like one every 10, 15 minutes, land and hit on, bang, on the tin roof, and then it'd roll off. And this guy's like, that's a Bigfoot. That's a Bigfoot throwing rocks at us. I'm like, no, dumbass, that's a walnut tree
Yeah.
right there.
We had them.
Literally.
Yeah, we
I
had
mean,
them at camp before.
Yeah, I was ready to say that. We've got like walnut trees at camp and stuff. But you hear them drop every now and then and stuff. Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah,
they make some big ruckus sometimes, depending on what they're landing on and hitting.
yeah. Now that doesn't mean that at the same time walnuts can't be falling in the fall time and a Bigfoot can't be throwing rocks at you,
Right.
but I would expect a rock to skip by me on the cement pad where the picnic tables were or hit a picnic table. I would like to think if that Bigfoot has better aim than to miss me by a 40-foot roof.
Yeah.
So,
So
what's the, yeah.
that incident that you were just talking and explaining, you didn't mention the state park. Would it have to be Salt Fork by any chance?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
Salt Fork.
I was gonna ask you
Yep.
about that because I've only been there one time, and that was back in 2000.
Okay.
Yeah, back at during one of the conferences they had there, the Ohio Bigfoot conference, and
Yeah,
I stayed at a cabin when I went there, and talk about beautiful area. I mean, oh my gosh.
it
I did
is.
some exploring up behind the cabin, which if you keep going up the hill from where we were at, it will bring you right to the lodge, the main lodge.
Yeah.
But there was some cool stuff right there behind the cabin. I mean, it looked like a cave right behind us. Well, I mean, I got pictures and everything of it. It's real cool, and
Right.
there's so much of the area. I wish I had more time to explore. But what I know there's other people. I got people that are there. There's a lot of group campouts. A lot of people, friends
Yeah.
of mine, and other people I know from Pennsylvania. Hey, we're going to Salt Fork this year. They're gathering 15, 20 people. But they do this every year, and there's other groups that go there on top of that are non Bigfoot related or whatever. And I know there's Bigfoot activity up there. I know that, but what's your take on everybody flooding that area to go look for Bigfoot at these group campouts? We
Oh,
I mean, it's like
I'm
very
about to
flooded up
piss
there with
off.
people. You know.
Yeah, I'm about to piss off a lot of
Oh,
people.
speaking mine, no, yeah, I would.
So the area where this happens is called group
Yeah.
camp, and what it is there's Bigfoot Ridge, which is primitive camping, and it's right on the main drag of the park. And then you go down the road half a mile, and there's the actual campgrounds where they have showers and all this fun stuff. And then you have the lodge, and then further down the road, you have the marina.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, way back in the back side of the park is a public wildlife area. Also, the Buckeye Trail, the 173-mile trail that you can hike through Ohio in bits and pieces because they never connected it. But sure, you can hike it. You just have to trespass a lot. But anyways, so this area is more of a ODNR wildlife area, and you actually, even though the park rents it, it's owned by the ODNR, Ohio Department Natural Resource, and it's way back in this own little corner. So nobody rents group camp. I swear, and I'm 99.999% certain of this, but Bigfoot
Hmm.
groups. I mean, every single weekend of the year. There's a group that does it once a month. And then there's this group that does it when there's a date available in between. And then this group has campouts. There's a date available in between. And then the last three groups fight over that last spot to see who can call first and get it. And if you watch on Facebook, every flipping weekend something happens. Like this Bigfoot just lives at group camp and has nothing else better to do but mess with campers who happen to be there looking for it.
Right.
And they find it. And it's so nerve wracking because I have found evidence there, sure. But the pool is so big. How do I know it wasn't hoaxed by the asshole last weekend who thought I'm going to get somebody? Watch it. Bring me a patty cast and rub it into the ground in the dirt. And then it's like, yeah, that'll get them. I don't know that.
Well, it's funny you just mentioned that because I will tell you this: that one incident that took place when I was attending the Ohio Bigfoot Conference in 2017. During our time there, we were there for three nights, and
Right?
there was a group that they did their group hiking or whatever they did while we were there because they do group campouts and hiking the Bigfoot hikes.
Yeah.
Well, supposedly there was somebody found a Bigfoot track. It was supposedly I didn't see all the details, but I learned that it was actually a hoax because
Right.
because there was a Bigfoot event that weekend and people went out hiking. Somebody hoaxed the track and blah blah blah, and then it went from there. But it turned out to be a hoax. But that's what the problem is with that kind of place.
That happened to
So
me in '06, '07. And I thought I was going to get into a fist fight that night because my buddy comes down and he's like, "Hey, Mike," and I'm like, "What's up, man?" He's like, "They found a track up here. Can you come take a look at it?" And I'm like, "Sure, I'll come up." And I pull up, and there's like a line of people, arms crossed, waiting for me. And I'm like, "What the hell is this?" So I get out, and it's like these people are just waiting for my opinion. It's like, well, let's see, it's a Bigfoot weekend. There's a track on a sand mound that's right beside the road and has a cookie cutter pattern, a perfect print in sand with the edge. It's like, I don't believe it. And they all got mad at me because they knew for a fact that they found this Bigfoot track, and here was this guy tracking on. So they needed a new expert. So they called Eric Altman, who happened to be there that
Oh,
weekend.
that man hates me.
Well, he showed up and he just walks up and he looks at it and he goes, "Yeah, look at how cookie cutter that is. That's not real." Well, then they got mad at him. And I'm like, great, that's my time to get the hell up out of here because he doesn't piss him off now. So then I'm like, I got better things to do with my time. But it was a Bigfoot weekend, and right
Yeah.
beside the road on a this sand pile that was like left over from the road department over wintertime, and right in the middle of it at eye level while you're driving is this perfect cookie cutter print. It's like, and you people are legit believing that this is something. It's like, no, no, that's no.
Wow, that's crazy.
It, but they were so convinced in their mind that's what it was. That's, you know, in their mind.
Hmm. I mean, I do want to return there, but here's the thing. My thing is, if I return there, I'm not going to tell people. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, if I invite people to come with me, like, hey, let's go, let's spend a weekend, a long weekend to go up there, but we're not going to make it public like a lot of them do. You know?
So I found with Salt Fork that I'll still occasionally go there. Most of what I do now is around Woodbury, Mohican, Wills Creek, AEP, Hocking Hills, Zaleski. I'm going other places, but I will still go visit Salt Fork. But I found the best trick is to there's a muddy creek system that runs through the park, and it's
Okay.
real wide and it's floatable, and nobody walks it because it's always a wet marsh. But
Mm,
if you kayak back there to the high ground, it's like the most inaccessible from foot places of the park, and that's where I have the most interesting stuff happen. That's where I not every time I go, but occasionally it's like you go down this kayak trail for maybe 3/4 of a mile, you're away from all the crap. And I'm talking 3/4 of a mile as the creek goes. So straight line, I probably went 1/4 of a mile. But it's like there on the bank might be a muddy track. And it might be an older one, but it might have what appears to be toe impressions. And it's like, I can't count that as a group camper. I can't count that as someone walking chest deep through weeds in a marsh to put that there. But I still have to question, because of the popularity of the park, its validity. But there's certain, you just have those certain finds where it's like, I don't think that's a person, So
yeah.
yeah, get a kayak and rent a canoe, whatever. But man, hit that water. Get away from the main popular areas, and
Yeah.
I can give you some spots on a map to go. And I'll be at West Virginia too, by the way. So yeah,
Oh, nice. It'll be great to
yeah,
meet you there. Then. Yeah.
yeah. Maybe we'll be able to go hit the woods for the first night or something. So
Well, I'm
yeah,
getting there. I'm getting there early Friday morning. Well, I'm headed
okay,
out early Friday morning to get up there because I'm speaking Friday evening there. So
right,
October 9th. And then I'll be there all day
okay.
Saturday, and then Sunday I'm leaving out around 12, between 12 and 1 p.m. at the latest. So
I'll be there with
uh,
the vendor tent, so I'm there all weekend. So
yeah,
yeah,
wherever they're placing the speakers as where I'm gonna, they're putting me up at a cabin there at the park. So
yeah.
so that should be. I'm staying with. Come to find out, I'll be. I don't know who else will be there, but RPG from RBT from
Yeah,
he was in our expedition Bigfoot. He
yeah,
already agreed to stay at a cabin, so I was like, cool. I mean, it'd be great to meet him. I've chatted with him on Facebook, but that's about it. So it'd be great to
heck
finally meet
yeah.
him as well. So yeah, it's gonna be exciting. I've been to the West Virginia Bigfoot Conference Festival since day one. I spoke at every time I attended. I spoke at all of them except for one. I attended there one year just to help out with someone,
Okay.
but
I went
this is gonna be
last
different.
year.
The Sutton location was always nice, but it's
Yeah.
always been very hot and humid. And I mean, the one year I attended, I got really sick. It was so hot, you know.
There was quite a few ambulances there that week. I had to go because Ron Howells was getting married, and I was part of that whole
Yeah,
ordeal.
I was supposed to. Yeah, that was last year. I was supposed to go to that
Yeah,
one, but I couldn't make it. Yeah,
and I bet we watched because of the heat, at least 3, 4, 5 ambulances come in
wow.
or go out but it was hot, hot. Like
Yeah,
we showed up and I was like, everyone's like, should we put camp away or what? I'm like, no, it's 106 degrees. Let's just go grab a bite to eat.
right. Yeah,
And sure as crap, the worst storm in the century came through. All the tents got flooded. Everything got soaking wet. And it's like, damn, I just had to say something, didn't I? So, yeah, it was a mess. But then that was it. And then it was like a heat index of 102 or something. And God, that was horrible.
yeah.
Oh.
Well, I'm glad they're putting it in October this year. That should definitely be a lot more comfortable. So
And that was a lot of the reason why too, because a lot of people was complaining about the heat and the dust and blah blah blah.
yeah,
And so I guess that when you do a festival, you have to kind of sort of listen to people's opinions, and so they're like, "All right, fine, we'll do it in the fall. In October, it'll be cooler." And if it
yeah,
rains on you, sorry about your luck. We did what you asked. We can't control the weather, so
yeah. This location that they're doing it for this year, it's it's still close to the same distance. It's always been around 4 hours. It's slightly a little closer.
okay.
It's like 3 hours and whatever minutes. I can't remember what I looked up, but so instead of going across the west, yeah. It's when I looked it up, GPS showed me okay. I'm gonna go all the way this way instead of going up this way and out. So yeah, it should be a pretty decent straight shot on the most part. The memorial park. It's a veterans memorial park, and
Okay.
so yeah, it should be pretty cool. Yeah, it's on the southern part of instead of being up around Sutton where it has been. It's going to be like 2 hours south of there, pretty much. So
Yeah, I noticed it's only like 20 miles from Babcock State Park, so it's not very far from Babcock.
okay, I'm not familiar with that area, but I
Hmm.
mean, yeah. But I'll be
I,
taking we're here in Virginia. I'll be taking Route 64 all the way out to where the tailgates
okay.
take off. So yeah. But now,
Yep.
how far are you from Salt Fork State Park?
So, and it's weird because people think I make this up, and it's like I don't. There's a reason why I bought the house that I live in, and it's a turd, but it it's 20 minutes from Woodbury. It's an hour from Salt Fork on this end. If I go clear to like group camp, it's an hour and a half. It's an hour to the edge of Hocking Hills. It's an hour to the edge of uh, Wayne National Forest. It's 20 minutes from Mohican. So I've got that centrally located, and plus 30 seconds behind me is a river that I grew up fishing. So
Hmm.
there's a reason why and it's because I'm almost the dead center of Ohio. So it's the same distance for me to go to Cincinnati as it is Cleveland. It's
Oh,
the
okay.
same distance for me to go to Indiana as it is Pennsylvania. I'm literally right in the middle, so I'm only half the distance from everything.
Ah,
And yeah, there's a reason why. I am where I am, and
How long did it take you to plan that out?
it just happened on a whim. It was like, because we looked at the property and it was a foreclosed house. It had sat empty for 3 years. The plumbing was shot, the well was shot, this was shot, that was shot. The electric wire had the old like cotton wrap crap around it. So it was a dump and a half. And it's like, well, it could still come back to life and be something. So, a little bit here, a little bit there. We started making improvements, and it's like, wait, and it's like I'm in the middle of everything. It's like, because I knew I wanted it because I would be close to Coshocton County. I was close to where I bow hunted. And then it's like right here's the Kikosing River where I can go fishing, but it's like I'm the same distance from Hocking Hills as I am Salt Fork. I'm the same distance from Cincinnati as I am Cleveland. I'm literally just halfway away from every. It just worked out
That's cool.
perfect. So,
Yeah, that's cool.
but I wanted to be close to Salt Fork, decently close to Coshocton County, close to. But my kids really liked the school district they were in, so we didn't move far from where we were. But
Oh, okay. Yeah.
yeah, we stayed in the same school district, but it's one of those districts that's that wide but that long, and we were on that far end, and now we're way out on this far end, so we just happened to catch the tail of it. So
Oh, nice.
Do you pretty much go out independent, your own research? Do you belong to any groups that you
so
link up with?
uh, like I talked to a lot of groups, like the Pennsylvania, the Bigfoot Project there in PA, and then a lot of other groups, Monroe County. I just kind of talked to everybody, but I used to go out with a lot of people all the time, and a lot of the people over time started to get really annoying. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I'm done with this shit. So now I've got this little handful of people that, like, if someone wants to go out, like
Yeah,
Hannah Slate, she was with me when the Thermal was filmed. So yeah, her, my buddy Derringer. There's like a handful of people, but
well, that's good.
be,
Yeah,
being where I live, Hannah's the only one that's like relatively close. Everyone else is like an hour and a half away. So if it's 10 o'clock at night and I got the whim to go out all of a sudden, I'm on my own. So I
yeah.
just go, and yeah, I just head out, and I do a lot of solo, but I also I, a good mix of, because I like helping newbies. I love helping people that are new to the world of Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And even
So,
if I'm not knowledgeable about Bigfoot, but just like, hey, look, this is a great way to start a fire. This is a great,
yeah.
if you've never done this, here's a great way to start a fire. And if your clothes are wet, here's how to make a clothesline with a cover to dry your crap off, and even outdoorsy tips. So
Yeah.
I just love that.
So one thing I read about you, of course, I did some brief research. So at one point in time, you try to associate yourself with a BFRO, but for
Hmm.
whatever oddball reason, they didn't want to accept you into their organization. You want to talk about
Yeah.
that a little bit?
Okay, so I'm actually really tight with those guys still. That's how I knew about Babcock. I did an expedition with them there, and they're a really good group of guys. But you always have that one. So 20 some years ago, I crossed paths with Mark DeWorth,
Oh yeah,
who
yeah.
who I call AKA Mark the Worthless, and
I met
and
him. Yeah, he's a nice guy. Don't get me wrong, but
he is, but we just never really it's one of those things where it's like if you see each other in public, it's like, oh hey, how you doing? And as you're walking away,
right.
you're an asshole. But yeah, it's like, and he put it in. So I was in actually. made it into the BFRO, but then Mark DeWertha was like, "Hey, look, this guy, he has a podcast. He makes videos. He's going to ruin your system. He's going to take all your information and use it for himself." And so then, I was in the BFRO for one day. I think I'm like the most member to ever be in the BFRO because I made it a day, and I thought, that takes a talented ass person when you can make it into the BFRO and be excluded in 24 hours. I knew I was special, but I didn't know I was that good. And I was like, man, it's okay. It is what it is. But the people that tried to get me into the BFRO, they're like, hey, let's talk. And so we're still tight.
Yeah.
Oh Lord, orbs and lights. Oh boy. So I never disbelieve anything. I take it with a grain of salt, but
Right.
it's always so. I have a friend, you know her, Tara Stephanie,
Yeah,
and
she's
she's the
camping with us
one.
before.
Yeah, she's the one who started telling me about orbs and these lights and everything. Brought it to my attention, and I got to looking at it, and I noticed there was a lot of people who get into it, and I'm not against it. I just don't understand why it is, why it would be, but so for her sake, because I was like, you know what, even though it's not something, just because I've never personally seen it, doesn't mean it can't happen because I ain't seen it. It just means I ain't seen it. But I think it, to me, I got a whole nother idea of what orbs are. But for Tara, I was like, you know what? She keeps telling me about these orbs. So I started, when I go out, I take a balloon, I put a glow stick in it, I snap it, blow up the balloon, tie it off, and then I hang it in a tree so I have a ball of glowing light that moves when I go out into the woods. So I'm not, maybe it'll attract them. I don't know. I don't know what attracts a Bigfoot. I'm not that skilled yet. So, but uh, I'm not against the idea of it. I
I
just,
like that. I like that idea. That sounds pretty cool. We need to try that, dude.
we've had,
Hey, how about yeah? We're
we've
always
had
adding to our
some,
plate.
so it doesn't work every single time, but there was this one night in particular where it was just the most deadest of dead nights. And I mean wind wise, because normally the balloon, even when there's no wind, will kind of rock and move and whatnot. But I mean, these balloons were just straight hanging. It was dead, dead, dead. And off in the corner, the furthest one away, the one closest to the edge of the woods, was like something kept hitting it or flicking it. So you're looking at all these balloons that aren't moving, and this one balloon keeps going boing, 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 and I'm like, something's touching that, or something has happened. Something's going on here. And it's one of those things, do we walk that way? Because if we do, we're going to run it off and it's going to stop. But if something is moving it and we stay here, maybe it'll make a mistake. So it's like, let's just sit put for a minute. And so, yeah, that orb in that particular night actually was it had an interesting result. But I myself, I've just never seen an orb outside of like Gettysburg or something like that. So I'm not saying orbs don't exist. I just think it's two different things. And people always talk about them being a ball of glowing light, and that's the same thing they always talk about a ghost being sometimes on those ghost hunting shows is a little ball of light. And they always talked about, I always heard or read about the Native American connection with Bigfoot. So I thought if I was a dead Native American who was a glowing ball of light, but I didn't know it, but I found this thing in the woods that's 8 feet tall, and all my people are gone. My tribe is gone. I can't find them. There's these weird looking things that keep walking through the woods, and they're driving these things with wheels, or I think that might be what a wheel is. These people are moving on this funny animal that makes them a sound like brom brom brom, and I don't know what's going on. I'm following that Bigfoot. So that's why I think the orbs. I think it's disconnected spirits. It's like, you know what? I don't know what all this stuff is. This stuff wasn't around my TP growing up. So I'm sticking with that thing because maybe it'll keep me safe.
Yeah.
That's my take on orbs.
Well, we discussed this a lot on various podcasts with other guests, and me and David, we'd like to bring this up because, I mean, I'll back up a little bit real quick. I spent some time. I lived in Pennsylvania for a short period,
Okay.
and I've done a lot of research and exploring up there. I mean, years ago, but up more recently, up to a couple years ago, um, I've seen some things up there that I can't explain.
Right.
And for the record, I'm very much like you, Mike. I'm very objective on a lot of things. I've heard stories of various things over the
Yeah.
years, and I was like, "What the heck are people seeing?" It just didn't make sense to me. But then when you start experiencing and seeing things like, okay, what the heck am I looking at here? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm seeing things that I've heard people talk about. Like
Right.
a couple different locations up in Pennsylvania. Like the first set of lights I've ever seen looked like a bunch of weird glittering stars.
Okay.
Kind of flashing, glittering, whatever you want to call it. I mean,
Right.
blue, gold, maybe a couple of reds,
Oh,
and
wow.
and we're talking in the month of January when it's very cold up there. And a few months later, moving into the month of May, I had a small group camp out. Tara was among those who camped with me. Me, Tara, Mike Howes, and the girl I was with at the time. Well, one time the area we were camped at, I seen these four. I'll say four uh, bluish, round, dim-looking lights across the camp in the woods,
Okay.
and they weren't moving. They were just stationary. I was like, "What the heck am I looking
Right.
at? What the heck? What are they?" I had no idea what I was
Yeah.
looking at. And when I went back, everybody else was sitting back at camp. I said, "Guys, I'm looking at some weird lights up here." And by the time we came back out, I tried to show them they weren't there. You know,
Mm.
so that was in Pennsylvania in Forbes State Forest. The first location was Forbes State Forest in the Blue Hole Division.
Okay.
A few months later, in the month of May, was in Forbes State Forest at the Mount Davis Division, which is quite a ways away. And of course, then me and David, there was a few others in our area here in Virginia that we're currently focusing on.
Right.
We seen one single round ball of light that appeared.
Okay.
David was the first one to notice it. He got my attention. I've seen it, and we seen it for a few good seconds, and just all of a sudden, boom, it was gone like that. And
Huh.
immediately pulling our thermals out, we didn't pick up no heat signature. We didn't see nothing in the area. Just entertaining the
Right.
thought that maybe somebody was over there with some kind of weird light. I don't know. But we can't explain it. We don't know what we saw. But
Well, let
when
me
we
Yeah.
back up on that a little bit right quick. We wasn't out looking for anything like this. We've been camping in this one area now where we go camping this is the third year being there. It is a remote area, and we always we go out for the camping, the camaraderie, to have fun, relax, and
Oh,
also to do a
yeah.
research while we're there. First couple of years, nothing out of the ordinary happened. We've had other than sounds and stuff like that, which is pretty much normal. Some things you can question. But last year, during the last two campouts, same location where we always camp at, we started having all kinds of things that we were not looking for happen.
I
And
gotcha.
we started having radios going dead, coming back alive. Uh, People feeling certain presence around. Daniel mentioned the light. I was the first one to see it for a couple of seconds before I got his attention. And it was a white pure light. It did not project any light like a flashlight. It was about
Oh,
35
wow.
to 40. It was about 35 to 40 yards away. It wasn't up in the air. It wasn't up in the trees. It was down around ground level, about 3 or 4 foot off the ground.
Yeah, look level with us.
I don't know how long it was there before it came into view because we're out in the woods on both sides of the gravel road. But when I first seen it, a couple of seconds, I got Daniel's attention. He looked at it, and he's seen it. And it's about golf ball size, not golf ball. It's about softball size, pure white. It didn't hurt your eyes. And a couple of seconds later, after he got his eyes on it, it flared up a little bit, then went out.
Oh,
We got
wow.
our thermals out, nothing in the area, no person walking around out there because you got to rule things out. I got
Yeah.
a hold of base camp to make sure there wasn't any cars, just to rule it out, even though they were about maybe half a mile away. And we was pretty much the only ones out there that night. We were not
Right.
looking for this; it just happened. Now, after these last 2 campouts, with all this weird stuff happening, it's just putting another element into our research when we go out. Daniel had a flashlight incident one night. It went dead on him. He was out in the woods by himself one weekend, and then he came back. His light was working again. Why is this stuff happening? I had an MP3 player turn on by itself, and it's a slide up type button. It's not a button you can push. It's 3 foot away from me on the table. Why did it turn on by itself? I let Melissa use my action cam, put it on her chest because she was going to go out at night. We put just the word sounds on that, but after we got it on her 2 times before they went out, it turned on by itself. Why is this happening? We don't have any answers. I'm not going to say it's this or that. Now, we grew up with paranormal stuff.
Right.
My mindset is I retired from the Army in 98. I spent 3 Navy, 18 Army. I was in law enforcement. Then I retired from the sheriff's office here in 2018. So with our mindset, you analyze what's going on. You don't jump to conclusions.
Yeah.
Digest it. You try to figure things out. And Daniel's the same way. I mean, that's why a lot of people get mad at him because he brings about a practical answer to what they might be seeing, whether it's prints or anything else. But people don't want to hear it. I mean, they think they experienced something. They want to jump down that rabbit hole and whatnot. But that's where our mindset's at. And it's intriguing. It's fascinating. But I've never seen a light like that. I've seen it on TV, people talking about it. But until you experience it, and you don't have an answer for it, what was it? We had Luna with us, or Shepherd, and it's about 10 o'clock at night when this happened. And she didn't indicate anything being in the area, like hearing or smell or anything like that. There wasn't any deer over there. It's just fascinating as far as that. So we're just throwing that out there too.
It's, I mean, I just never experienced them, but
We didn't either
I
till
don't
then.
discount them at the same time. That's why I put the orbs in the tree, because I thought maybe there's something to it. Maybe they'll attract something.
We don't
So
know.
yeah. So
Well,
it's not
some
that
people say, some people want to say, well, it's been proven when you get around tectonic plates and they start rubbing, it will emit gases,
Oh
radiating type
yeah.
gases, and then they'll dissipate as it moves around and stuff like that. But this didn't radiate. It didn't. It was just a pure white light. It didn't give it any kind of electrical pulse going off. It didn't emit any light in the area like a flashlight would, and it wasn't fluctuating like it was gas, and it just barely moved from the time we seen it, and then it went out about maybe 4 or 5 seconds max. We had both of our eyes on it, and
Right.
it could have been something UFO. We don't know. It could have been something associated with Bigfoot. We don't know because another group member, Drew, he had an encounter about maybe 200 yards from that same evening. That's why we was going back before we seen the light, and he couldn't identify the eye shines that he was seeing. 2 sets of eye shine.
Okay.
20 minutes or 30 minutes later, then we see the light. September before that, a couple from Pennsylvania, about maybe 300 or 400 yards up from where we're at, where they parked to walk to the lake at, daytime, she seen something black run across the road on 2 legs. And she tried to explain to us that it wasn't a bear. She couldn't explain what it was. She thought it was a bear at the beginning until she told us the story. It wasn't no bears run on 2 legs like that. Bears,
Right.
if they're defending their area or attacking, they're going to go to all fours. If they're scared, they're going to drop to all fours to run. They're not going to run off with 2 legs. And if they do run off
No.
on two legs, so they're going to hobble a little bit, then they're going to go down. I mean, they're not built for it. But again, all this is within, I say, about maybe half a mile radius within a 9-month time frame that all of this activity now happened last year. Didn't happen before. Now it's happening. We don't have any answers, and people can take what they want from our stories, but until they go out in the woods, daytime or nighttime, and relax, enjoy yourself, and just let things happen until you've experienced it. I can see why you got naysayers out there, but when more than one people see or experience the same thing at the same time, it's not a figment of your imagination. It's not.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I mean
Yeah.
that's where we're at with our research now, as far as that. I mean, it's just another element. And now we're getting a little bit more equipment when we're out there with besides radios and stuff, with EMFs and stuff like that to see if there's any kind of other activity going on out there. I mean, we're adding more to our research. We're not
Yeah.
going to go overboard because we don't want to go down that rabbit hole to where people thinking you're kooks.
Right.
I'm not going to do
Yeah.
that. I mean, we're going
Now,
to tell a story, what experience, and the people take what they want from it. I mean, we're going to go on doing what we're doing, and I like to try to come up with some answers sometimes.
yeah, there's a couple things I want to add to what David was talking about. I've shared this with him before. In this particular area, I did some research, just basically online, what I could find, if there's any of other experiences related, or to what we have, or anything, and just whatever I could come up with. Well, the name of the area, I will mention this publicly. The name of the town is called Falks Run, Virginia.
Okay.
However, after doing some research, now there was a lot of folklore and there was a lot of history in that area. Um, you know, Not to get into all of it, but I will come down. Like I showed David, and I was like, look what it's saying according to the folklore and legends and the stories of the history of this area. One of the things was it mentioned, well, they call it sheep squatch. It's their version of Sasquatch.
Yeah.
The other thing, which is more commonly known in West Virginia, this location is only a few miles from West Virginia. But
Okay.
on top of that, Strange Lights in the Woods was named among all the history of this area,
Uh,
which I found very fascinating. What are these strange lights that others are seeing? Are they similar to what we witnessed? I don't know. Then I started doing a Google research for on YouTube videos. I was literally looking on YouTube videos for different experiences similar to ours or anything that would come up on videos. And sure enough, there was a podcast I came across, and I think I shared it with David. If you recall, there was a podcast um, that the individual, he was Southwest Virginia. He was some hours, 3 or 4 hours southwest of us. Well, his story, besides having the Bigfoot experiences, there was one property he was on visiting somebody that had this experience, seeing the strange lights and orbs that were actually moving along the outskirts of the property. And on this particular property, it was also known that there was Civil War history that took place there. So,
oh.
yeah, so I was like, okay, that's interesting. But again, this eyewitness talked about these round balls of orbs. They called them orbs because they were actually moving. Of course, the
Right.
lights that we seen and the ones I talked about in Pennsylvania, they were stationary. So, I just want to throw that in there real quick. And I just thought it was interesting. Like, there's something strange going on in this area. We don't know what it is, but.
That's like I've got this weird collection of rabbit holes that someday I am going to go down just for my own little personal research, and orbs is one of them, and I haven't looked into it, so I don't know. But I do know that the first mention I ever heard of orbs was out west, and then I
Mm,
hear about them in PA, Virginia, and I notice everywhere I hear about them, there's high hills or mountains. I've never heard of one in a flat area. So I don't know if that's, is
yeah.
that something? Is it a mountainous thing? Is it something that only happens in a certain climate region with that particular? Because it, according to Bergman's theory, all Bigfoot are different the further you go north. So it's And Bergman's, well, it started as Bergman's theory, then it became Bergman's principle, and now it's Bergman's rule because they actually proved the guy to be right. Over time, at first, they called him a lunatic. But yeah, that's one of my wormholes that I always wanted to dabble in research was, is it a mountainous thing? Is it a flat, because I've just never encountered a report of it happening in a flat, but I've never looked
Yeah,
for it either. But
Right.
that's
like,
interesting that you bring that up because I mean between Pennsylvania and Virginia, Pennsylvania's got a lot of ridge lines and hills and
yeah.
mountain ridges, and same thing with Virginia. I mean, our mountains are not as big as what they have out west, but our highest elevation is over probably close to 6,000 feet, which is still pretty big. Here
Oh
on the East
yeah,
Coast.
it's higher than the ones they have in North Carolina. I mean,
Yeah,
like the Appalachians start in Ohio, and we call them the foothills, and they are. They're not mountains. They're just. But if you go up to northern Ohio, it's flat as a sheet of paper. Where the glacier came through, there's nothing up there. It's just flat. It's like what dumbass decided to build a town in this spot because that's
yeah,
just what I want to do is live in a marsh with mosquitoes. But so uh, yeah, it's just one of those. But really, with orbs, I don't think so. Everything Bigfoot at some point was new. Like
yeah,
someone had to discover wood knocking, which was Matt Moneymaker. That was his claim to fame. That he noticed that he
yep,
kept hearing this knocking sound on a tree, and that it happened. And then they have what they call the Ohio Howl. So that's its own little phenomenon. And if you talk about the Ohio Howl to maybe someone in Wyoming or Olympia, they might be like, "Yeah, you're full of crap." But then you got the Olympia Howl. So everything at Bigfoot was new at some time. Like, well, they got a horrible smell. Ah, you're crazy. And then 3 months later, the guy's in the woods and he's like, what the hell is that? He's plugging his nose. He's got this horrible death, pee, wet dog, urine smell of swamp ass. And it's like, God, that's horrible. And it's like, but at some point, that was new, and um, eye shine of it. Well, you're just seeing deer. Well, but it's this color, and sometimes it's this color though. But now sometimes it's also this color. So it used to just be eye shine with just red, and now it's red, green. So everything was new at some point, and that's what's so cool about technology is Bigfooting is putting all these little pieces together, figuring out that's what that's what that could be, and how it fits. And I don't think in the puzzle of Bigfoot, but I think in your own personal puzzle of how you put things together in your head and how because like my neighbor, I guarantee he doesn't understand the world or see the world how I see it, how I understand it. We're all different. We all understand some things. I mean, we might have get to the same point by the end of the road. We just take a different path to get there. But yeah, at some point, everything was new in the world of Bigfoot, and a lot of it still is.
Well,
Just
you
like,
got your different cultures out there too, because I mean, you got the people
oh
they don't get they don't get out of the concrete city, the concrete jungles. They go to work, they come
yeah,
home, sit on the couch, drink coffee, watch TV, get up, go back to work. It's the same thing. 52 weeks out of the year. Then you get people that go out there to research, like we started doing and stuff like that. That we go out with an open mind, no preconceived notions, and just let things happen as they happen. Then you got those that go out there with the preconceived notion that everything they see and hear is a Bigfoot. Just like the tree knocks. They think that they hear a tree knock, it's going to be
yeah,
a Bigfoot. It may be another Bigfooter over the ridge hitting the tree because and they talking back and forth, don't even know it. Also, weather it can have stuff to play in that because when I was
yes,
researching it, unless you know what a distinct tree knock sounds like,
hmm
when wood it heats up in the day and cools at night, depending on the textures in the wood, you get expansion and contraction, just like in a
Yeah.
house. You hear a pop every now and then. Some fibers may pop, I mean, all these are possibilities where you just can't be laser focused saying that was a Bigfoot. If you ain't got a picture of Bigfoot sitting there hitting a tree, we're never going to know as far as
Yeah.
that. But
I,
again,
I,
it's just tools in the toolbox to where you look at it, you analyze it, and if you go out and you take a good piece of wood and hit a tree, you could just you'll know what a tree knock sounds like.
Or
But now if you
same
take a
thing.
tree and pop it, it's similar, but there is a distinct difference. But you got to research that and study it to understand that. And
oh
a lot of
yeah.
things misidentification. We know that, but all I can say is we went out looking for this stuff the last two campouts. It came to us, and now
There
that's
you
got us
go.
drawn in on what the hell is going on here.
It's
And like I said,
part of
we've
your
had paranormal
puzzle.
stuff
Yeah.
with them and Melissa did all of our life. I mean, people, my family and her family, and things I experienced growing up, and my brothers along with me, multiple witnesses. It's not a figment of your imagination when that happens. When I
Right.
got this two retirements done, and we can relax, we met Daniel, then we watched the stuff on TV, and then he invited us to camping. We met him at the mall. We want to see what his little setup was like there, and we couldn't get off of his hip since then. It's just personality Daniel has. Once you get to know him, you just can't get rid of him. You know what I mean? But
So I send you more Amazon stuff to buy,
yeah, so he got our feet wet in that and what he does out in his research stuff like that. And I liked his way of thinking. He's practical. He doesn't blow things out of proportion. He stays reasonable with his logic, and he doesn't jump. And that's the kind of people I want to hang with because I don't want to get in arguments with anybody like that. Express your
Right.
opinion, what you think it may be. That's the only way you're going to try to come to any kind of an answer. Talk it
Yeah.
through, rationalize. You have people's gonna have different ideas. We need to understand that. And then 9 times out of 10, you're still gonna walk away with more questions than answers. You know, I mean that's the way it's going to be. That's the way it is. But we enjoy it. We like it. That's why we're out there with it. We'll be going back out here again in May and for another week long camp out stuff. And hopefully, I'm hoping some of that activity that happened last year happens again. I mean,
Uh,
I don't know why we experienced it last year. I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of history, a lot of old foundations of old homes or whatever back here in the woods. It's all primitive back here now. Uh, if we can be, anything can be. There's more out
yeah.
there that's going on than what we realize, and that's the fact. Things aren't black and white like people think it is, except for your
No.
daily life. But most people don't want to be taken out of the norm. Once they're
Yeah.
taken out of the norm, their belief system is now messed up. We're not
Yeah.
atheists. We believe in God. We, we're on that side. But then again, if you look in the Bible, what does the Bible talk about? You look down the history of Native Americans and even before them, not only here but other cultures, what do they talk about? What was going on back then? And a lot of that history's carried forward with like Bigfoot, Dog Man, for an example. Uh, uh, there's just so much going on. I mean, you can bust the brain cells thinking about it, but you got to stand back, take it in as it comes, try to rationalize, analyze it, and hopefully we don't get zapped up by a UFO one night. You never see us again. But you never know. It may happen, But I'm not. It's not going to keep me from going out in the woods and trying.
Well, hopefully while I'm filming, I capture all this and I survive
Well, we should have dropped your camera after the fact. That way, people will pick up the camera, see what happened. Don't take it with you.
it.
But that's where we're at, and we're practical about everything, and we're enjoying it. We're enjoying life for the best we can until see what's on goes on after that our part of living. But there's things out there that's happening. We don't have the answer for it. I never expected it to happen like that.
But not
Yeah.
everything is Bigfoot, for gosh sakes. I get so tired of people, is that Bigfoot? Oh my gosh, it's Bigfoot. It's like they get tunnel vision
Yeah.
to Bigfoot. And that's one thing about Daniel and about us and stuff. Yes, we've been learning from Daniel for the last few years now, a little bit more about what he does and stuff. But when he sees something, he also looks at the outside, the outer picture. He looks at
Yeah.
everything around and
And there's
sees
people
if
that hate
there's a
that.
correlation.
And there's people that hate that because
you've got to rule out what you can.
no, like
Not everything is Bigfoot.
like Daniel and everybody says, nobody's an expert in this. But yet people want to come
Exactly.
off like they are.
And
Their
some
way or no way. You can't be that way.
and some things
No.
like they're talking about. Listen, David talking about ruling things out. And I'll be the first to admit, and I've said this multiple times. It's easier said than done. You know,
Yes.
I mean, you want things to be this, but what you got to consider all these other possibilities. Just like finding the various tree structures. I mean, when I first started in this, I was one of those people that were very blown up on the, like after observing what was being put out there, what I was observing on social media when I first jumped on, all these tree structures. Okay, so that was something that made me more alert. I started observing these things more carefully. I started, noticing things that people were talking about. Well, I never considered this, but then again, you look at the various tree structures. Okay, some of these could be ruled by, the suspects. Well, weather is one major cause of a lot of this. Then again,
Yeah.
you got various types of wildlife that are responsible for a lot of this. And then if Bigfoot is doing this, Mike, I'm sure you've seen this for yourself. And most of David, the more you join these Bigfoot groups, you're gonna see it too. Is oh, I got a Bigfoot structure right here. This is a Bigfoot structure. I
Yeah.
want to say, yeah, we all want to believe it's Bigfoot. Bigfoot should be our last consideration. But like I tell people, there's always that possibility. You know,
Yeah.
so it's mind blowing and it's exciting at the same time because we're caught up into this field that there's a lot of excitement involved. But we for those of us that take it serious, I find it more entertaining and more fascinating. Hey, let's rule all this out. Can we rule this out? Yes and
Yeah.
no. That's how what it boils down
Location,
to.
location, location.
Yep.
So
Like
I
like
had
I've told Daniel and Melissa, when we're out hiking and stuff, we're going along the gravel road, we see something that looks like it might be a little bit of structure 10, 15, 20 yards off the road. I can't say that's going to be a Bigfoot. I mean, I don't know, but people
right.
walk along that road all the time. They, like I said, you got hoaxers out there too. But now, if you take the time and you're 45 minutes deep in the woods, no hiking or horse trails or nothing around, now you come into a different situation. Now
Yeah.
you got the hunter aspect. You got to know
Look,
what turkey blinds look like. You got to know if something can be temporarily set up as a blind, for deer hunting and stuff like that. So you got to look for other clues and
which is
indicators.
which is
But now,
very
if you got a
common. Yeah.
16-foot structure where physics come into play and you got 9 different things coming to one point, that ain't weather.
Right.
But we can't say it's Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Right. Because
Something put it there. Who?
something or someone or something.
You had to have some.
Period.
You had to have.
And
You had to have thumbs to do it.
it could be a regional, but I always look for a pin. And people always, I had some newbies with me and they didn't get it because we were going through and like, is that tree structure? And I'm like, no, that's not a tree structure. That's deadfall. And we're walking along, it's like, that's a tree structure. Like, no, ain't a dead, that's from a windstorm. And went to this other one, I'm looking at it and I'm like, I think this one's a structure. And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, well, in my area, it could be a region. I was like, there's a pin system. And they're like, what do you mean? And there was this young lady standing right here beside me. I said, well, if I pull this branch and I pulled this little piece of wood and that tree smacked her right in the face, it just jumped up and went bam and drilled her. And she's laying on her back. And I'm like, it's a pin system. Oops. I mean, I just blap. I just slapped her right upside the face. And but she was standing to where she could see, and I was like, the ones I've noticed that I have experience with in my region is that there's always this one piece of wood, and I just barely pulled it, and this tree just went boom and drilled her, and I'm like, whoops,
Mm.
my bad, but yeah. So of course she gets up, looks at me, she's like, "You asshole!" Like I did that on purpose. Like no, I didn't put this together with the thought that I'm going to hit you with a tree. I mean, we just found this together. I just happened to see that one stick, and I was like, and that's what a lot of them are that I find, and that's one thing I always look for is that when you have all the bins coming in, there's
Yeah.
like this one weird stick. And it's always, and if you pull it, the whole thing will go and stand
Spring
right
back up.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it might not jump up, if it's an older one, it might be like an old man having his first time Viagra and take a minute. But, it's like, yeah, that's just, yeah. I think my computer. What am I down to? Oh no, I still got battery. Just everything's flickering.
No, we still hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
You
I
mean
I
they're black hair watching you, are they?
I got another. I'll fire up the work phone. It's got a
well,
flashlight.
Mrs.
There we go.
I was gonna say Mrs. Honey Hartman ain't calling for you, is she?
No, no, no. Just my light's dying, but I got a flashlight, so we're
Oh,
good.
okay.
No,
It,
you look fine.
so is that your wife's first name? Is she her name Honey?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Her
I came across that. I thought that's pretty cool.
her dad. So back in the '70s, her dad loved Bobby Goldsboro, and he did that song "Honey," and so
Oh,
that's where her name came from.
okay.
And then the joke was that when she married me, I unfortunately made her sound like a porn star. So, so
Because
but
yeah, I saw the name listed on your Facebook page, Honey Hartman. I think, oh, okay, he's married to her. Okay.
yeah, yeah, like my bad, but yeah, but yeah, her dad loved my, and which, of course, that song because of her is in my playlist. But yeah, he loved that song "Honey" by Bobby Goldsboro, so that's how it all
I
kind of
haven't
came.
heard Bobby Goldsboro name in geez, decades. I forgot all about Bobby Goldsboro from the '70s.
He was that one hit wonder, or maybe
Yeah.
two. But yeah,
Yeah. And what's she
Wow.
think about your involvement with all this?
so she used to go with me all the time.
Yeah.
And June 11th, 2008, there was a lady texting and driving on a blind corner and hit us head on her motorcycle.
Wow.
So we were both life flighted. We were both ambulanced and life flighted. I had more head trauma, but she had more body damage, like her leg. Um, it was kind of like, do we save it, amputate it kind of deal, and they saved it. But so she can't really get out the way that she used to. So she's okay with it, but there are times that I'm sure it gets annoying because I'm running off to the woods. I'm having fun with so and so. I'm running around with Derringer. We're going to Timmy Ho's, Tim Hortons, and then we're going to go, we're going to go hit Woodbury, and she's stuck at work or she's at home and maybe her knees swelled up. So I can see why it gets annoying from her point of view, but this year she is going to go to the festivals with me in the vendor tents, and so I upped my camping from what I normally do to accommodate her a little more. So,
Oh, okay.
but
Well,
yeah,
will you ever
she ain't a.
consider? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, no, you're good.
I was just gonna ask, would you guys ever consider coming down to Virginia? I mean, you guys are welcome to come down to Virginia and camp with
Oh
us.
yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have a 100 130 or 230 acres in Virginia.
Oh,
So,
what part?
Council, Hayside, Honacre, right outside the breaks.
I'm not
So,
familiar with that area.
What
Yeah.
county is that?
Buchanan,
Oh,
Buchanan County.
Buchanan.
that's
Yeah.
yeah. That's like okay. I did a library lecture down there a few years back. about 4 or 5,
So
well, 4 years ago, 5, maybe 5.
my great
Yeah.
great grandpa came here as a white slave from Ireland. A rich farmer paid for their passage and they had to work off their payment. While he was
Hmm.
doing that, the Revolutionary War broke out. And so his owner, whatever, signed him up to go fight in his stead, and he commandeered a cannon brigade over Chesapeake Bay, helped cut the Cumberland Gap. And so when he was released from the military, I automatically released him from the bond with the rich farmer. And he was given 500 acres in North Carolina, and it was the most prime, nasty, stupidest ass swamp you ever seen in your life. So he sold it, bought the Virginia property, and then my family's just always been there. And now no one lives there anymore because the cabin burnt down in the 80s. And I went back here 5, 6 years ago for like the first time in 30 years. Had to remow and recut the road going up the mountain, kind of get the property somewhat back on track. And but yeah, we got it's either a 230 acres or 130 acres, and there's black bear, turkey, all kinds of good little critters running right over the ridge from one of the elk preserves. So
Okay, so you are. I was just about to ask: is it Buchanan County or Buchanan, Virginia? Because there's two different locations. One's only an
yeah,
hour south of me, and the other one is almost 3 to 4 hours south of me. So
yes, Buchanan County,
yeah, they do have the elk
right
down there.
outside the breaks. Not too far from Breaks Interstate Park in Kentucky, Virginia.
Yep.
That breaks line. um, Honacre. I can't think of the name of the river off the top of my head, but
Yeah,
it's
I know
about,
exactly what you're talking about because there's actually it's cold country down there too.
yeah,
So,
maybe an hour from, like 2 hours from Bristol, an hour from Richmond, maybe something like that.
yeah,
So
yeah, it's a little further from Richmond. It's more, yeah, you're on the south. I've been down there, like I said, it's been a few years or so, but I there was a small library down there, and well, it's actually a pretty decent sized library for the area that it was in, and because I got
right,
invited to come down there and do a presentation down there. The library was pretty decent size. Yeah, I mean, when I was driving down there and riding through the area before I got to my destination, I was like, wow, this area looks like it's like an area where time forgot. I,
yeah,
it was like, yeah, I didn't realize later until I was like, man, I'm just minutes from Kentucky. So it depends on which direction you were heading in, but yeah, it's very squatchy down there. I will say that much. So,
yeah. It's just definitely, it's weird because it's the land that time forgot, but it's the only Walmart I've ever seen with an escalator in it. It's like, what possessed these backwoods ass people to put an escalator in a Walmart of all
they got a
things?
parking deck down there. Yeah, they got
But
a parking deck for a Walmart.
yeah,
Uh,
and there's only 4 houses within 10 miles of it. It's like, why would you need the escalator? Well,
that
they
sounds
put
like
it on a
the
mountain. There's nowhere to
yeah,
park.
that sounds like the very same area I was in. Buchanan County, the Walmart. Yeah, they had a lower level which was a parking deck, and
Yep.
then it was crazy. Yeah, because the library was right around the corner from there on the other side.
Okay.
Yep, I
My
know.
property is about 40 minutes from there. As
Okay.
the crow flies, it's only 10. It's just that the road does that number the whole way. So
Yeah.
it's one of those where if you're going too fast, you can actually put your lips out the window and kiss the back bumper. And yeah, yeah, so if the roads were straighter, it would be 10 minutes from there, but it's just the way they had to make the path. So,
Well, in that town there, I will remember. I was very thankful because after the library presentation I did, I went. There was a. I had me some dinner. They had a Chinese restaurant. There was a buffet right in town.
yeah, yep,
I was like,
yep.
yes. I love me
Eight
some Chinese.
houses, but a Walmart and a China buffet. Yep.
Yeah.
Years
Yep.
ago, and I don't even remember what relative died. We had to go there for a funeral, and we were looking for a little town in that area called War. And there was this old lady walking down the sidewalk. It's like, we're looking for a funeral parlor in War, Virginia. And I'll be damned if she didn't turn around and say, do you want War 1 or War 2? And it's like, shit, they had to give us a choice. It's like, really? How do we know? We're looking for War. We didn't know there was two of them. It's like, does one have a funeral home and one doesn't by
Yep.
chance? And no, they both had funeral homes. So, yeah,
Wow. But that area, it is a very neat looking area down there, and there is a
it
big state
is.
park. Yeah, there's a big state park not far off. It was like I think the day before I left, before I headed home, I got up early, left my hotel room, and yeah, there was a state park somewhere nearby. I forget what it was called, but I went into the state park, and I mean, talking about I posted pictures some years ago of this. The area is beautiful out there. Uh, I don't want to call it a resort, but it's kind of like a resort. They have
It's
a big lodge
resortish.
area, yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
overlooks mountain ridge. I mean, you get a full view, a beautiful view of this. I don't know. I like I said, I don't even. I would have to look it up. I don't remember what it's called, but I recall they had a gift shop there. And I don't know. They happen to have some Bigfoot merchandise inside the store. At the place, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it's a very neat area. I would definitely love to come down to that area again to visit. And I don't know, maybe someday down the road, I'll go back down there. One of the
Heck
people
yeah.
that attended the library that I spoke at, I know there's one lady. She wanted me to come do it like last year. She wanted me to come down to do a birthday party for her little boy, and do a
Hmm.
Bigfoot hike. I just it didn't work out. I just couldn't do it. It's like but it's whatever. So, but
I'm that weird guy that when I go into an area, it's like, hey, like, no, man, I ain't got any meth. It's like, I don't want meth. Have you seen or heard anything about Bigfoot? I'm that guy.
right,
And then they look at you weird, like feel more comfortable if you was trying to buy meth. But it's like, no, I'm the Fruit Loop looking for Bigfoot. Well, what can you tell me? And
yeah,
yeah, that's me. So.
Got to do what you
yep.
got to do.
Yeah, you do.
Well, I tell you what, Mike, this has been awesome. This has been really good. But as we come to a close here, would you like the viewers and listeners? Is there anything you want to share for the listeners here for the rerun on YouTube? And this is also will be on ECBR Bigfoot Radio, heard on all the major platforms. So
I would say just next time you're out, just pay attention to your surroundings. Don't always look to notice the big things. Sometimes look for the little things. And don't be one of those hikers that always looks down for tracks. Sometimes you got to look
okay,
up for tracks. And
right,
you'll see that whole line of 8 foot branches just snap, 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 or something. Look for the little stuff, and that would be the one thing I would leave with your listeners, viewers, whatnot. Is don't always look for big stuff. Sometimes look for little nuances.
Yeah, good point.
very good,
Good point.
excellent. This has been excellent. Dave, Melissa, you have anything else you want to share before we jump off?
No, that's pretty much it. I guess we'll see you again in a couple of weekends
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
next weekend, whichever one it is.
And Mike, well, like I mentioned earlier, I don't know how your schedule is, how your work schedule is, and whatnot. But we got a group camp out coming up in May 17th to the 23rd. So if it's something
Okay,
you think you could do, hey, we would love to have you there.
okay,
Feel free. You can bring the missus. Because like even if she can't get out and hike and explore, like we have a group that usually stays back at camp. That can't get
gotcha.
out like that. So she wouldn't be alone. So she would only be
Right,
well accompanied, and we have some great people that hang around the camp that don't get out and explore like the rest of us do. So
gotcha.
So, if it's something you want to do, let us know. I'll throw you the
Okay.
GPS coordinates to the location. But again, that's May 17th through the 23rd. And we're looking forward to it. I got some investigations coming up between now and then because I'll be actually in Pennsylvania coming up. Not next week, but the week after. I got a long camp out with meeting up with, for those who know, Chadwick Gales. I'll be investigating an area he's been investigating and checking out in the Chestnut Ridge area, which has got a lot of
Oh,
strange activity. Yeah, the
yeah.
Chestnut Ridge area. Yeah, he's got some strange. He's actually found some three-toed tracks in that area. He's had
Wow.
a lot of other weird experiences. And talking about strange lights, yeah, he's captured them on his trail cameras.
Oh,
Like you don't know what the
wow.
heck. He's got some weird lights on his camera, and I'm looking forward to getting up there and hopefully while I'm up there, I hopefully we get to hear and experience some stuff while we're there. So that's going to be pretty interesting.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So, but the invites out there to you. You're more than welcome to join us. We would love to
I
have
just
you if you
wrote
can
it
make it.
down. So,
Okay.
yep.
Good deal. And if you can't make it again, I guess I'll see you in October at the West Virginia
Great.
Bigfoot Festival. So
Yep.
absolutely. And same goes out to you, Melissa and David. If you guys can make it out there, I'll be out there Friday, Saturday, and I'll be coming home Sunday, October 9th through the 11th, in Somersville, Pennsylvania. It's going to be Somersville, West Virginia. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
At the Nicholas
It's
Veterans
a past its
Memorial Park.
bedtime.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm getting things mixed up because, I'm not going to tell you how much I've had to drink or what I drank all the night, but Crown Royal, almost a whole case of Bush beer. But yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Oh my land! Good God Almighty! You got a
I'm good to
liver left?
go. There's still more beer out in the fridge in the garage, so I don't know. We'll see. So, but hey, guys, I want to thank you guys very much, and stay tuned to the very end. I'll be back with a few last minor announcements, but keep us watching, everyone, and till next
Mike, it's
time.
been a pleasure. Pleasure meeting you.
Absolutely. It's been wonderful.
We need to do it again sometime.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed tonight's podcast. I thought that was very awesome. I really do. But, ladies and gentlemen, I can't thank you guys enough for tuning in and listening. Next Friday, excuse me, let me back up. Next Saturday, we will be doing our final podcast of the year until further notice. Meanwhile, go to lulu.com and look for Trail of the Unknown, A Journey Beyond Truth by Daniel J. Benoit. Also, The Bigfoot Zone, a comprehensive research doctrine of Bigfoot investigations by Daniel J. Benoit. And Daniel J. Benoit's first children's book based off of him and his grandson, Caden Goes Camping. These books are all found on lulu.com at the bookstore on lulu.com. Trail of the Unknown, The Bigfoot Zone, and Caden Goes Camping. Guys, I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much. And be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Bigfoot Zone, ECBRO. Spread the word, share the podcast, and keep it squatchy. Until next time, I'm your host, Daniel J. Benoit.